welcome to Chicago This Week. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Chantel Ropp. We begin today with the developing story out of Washington, D.C. According to a leaked draft opinion, the Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights. President Biden issued a statement saying that if the court does overturn Roe, it will fall on our nation's elected officials at all levels of government to protect a woman's right to choose. We'll continue to follow this story. Now, onto a troubling crime wave in new areas of the city. Police say violent incidents have shifted into the downtown area. Last weekend, a shooting in the Loop led to the cancellation of a Broadway in Chicago performance. Police are now bringing in outside help. Mary Chappell is live with this story. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Chantel. River North and other parts of downtown have seen a lot of violent crime recently, including a murder outside of the House of Blues and a shooting outside of the Chicago Theater over the weekend. The Cook County Sheriff remains one of the most underutilized agencies in the area. However, that changed last week. Last week, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart announced the agency will be opening a command post in the neighborhood due to rising crime.
This is our effort to take another step in trying to go after some of the things that has been particularly disconcerting to so many of the people in our community. The criminal activity that's gone on in the River North area and along Michigan Avenue.
The command post will be fully operational around the clock and located in the heart of River North at 500 North Clark. The sheriff has and will continue to collaborate with the Chicago Police Department to try to curb the violence.
Of course, we have many challenges across the city, but we're highlighting our downtown today because we want to ensure that the public sees us visible, engaging, and collaborative.
So far in 2022, the Near North Side, the community area that includes River North and the Magnificent Mile, has seen 2,711 crimes, 8 of which have been shootings. And retail thefts on the Magnificent Mile have become a frequent occurrence.
Our goal is to be multifaceted. We're going to be doing from traffic to interacting with tourists, citizens, the merchants.
Officials hope to make it a safer summer for the city, which is known for very violent weekends in the warmest months of the year.
Thanks, Mary. In May of 1886, a rally took place in Chicago to support striking workers demanding 8-hour workdays. That rally, known as the Haymarket Affair, turned violent after clashes with police. Today, more than 100 years later, demonstrations for workers' rights continue in Chicago and around the world. Stephanie Kafua is live with that report. Hi, Stephanie.
Thanks, Chantel. This weekend, I headed to Union Park to hear from workers as they celebrated May Day, a holiday deeply rooted in Chicago history.
Chicago makes some noise!
The 1st of May is International Workers' Day, a holiday that celebrates laborers with marches and rallies around the world.
What's so special about May Day in Chicago is the Haymarket affair that happened, so many years ago that really launched the May Day movement.
Support for workers has taken on a new meaning in our modern pandemic world, where the safety of frontline personnel, many of them members of immigrant populations, have bore the brunt of illness and death.
It's important to stand in solidarity with the immigrants' rights movement, the abortion movement, the queer movement, and the movement for workers' rights, because truly they are interlinked. So to have a show of solidarity here on a gloomy May 1st here in Chicago, blocks away from the Haymarket riot, which really kicked off this whole thing, is incredibly important. So I'm honored to be standing in solidarity today.
All of us are being deprived of that principle of justice. If we work in this country, we should have justice.
Bally's plans to build their newest casino in Chicago's River West neighborhood. Local labor unions are not happy about that. Rafael Hipos is live with the story. Hi, Rafael.
Hi, Chantal. Traffic, crime, gambling addiction. These are the concerns that residents have about Chicago's casino proposals. Now, labor groups are worried about jobs. Take a look.
Chicago's casino proposals came under fire last week after labor groups revealed that none of the applicants have met with unions to negotiate a labor agreement. Bally's plans to build its casino at the site of the Chicago Tribune's publishing plant in River West. As seen on their websites, the other 2 proposed sites are west of Soldier Field and north of Chinatown. Robert Reiter, the president of the Chicago Federation of Labor, said during a city council committee meeting that of the 3 proposals, only one has expressed an interest in meeting with unions, though he did not say who.
We understand that development, tourism, and tax revenue is critical for our city. Believe me, I understand it better than anyone. But to move forward without the commitment to pay living wages and respect workers' rights is a slap in the face to the entire labor movement in Chicago.
Many of the aldermen present agreed with this stance and called on the casinos to sit down with the unions.
I hope the bidders are out there and they're listening. The city is projected to make a lot of money on this, and we need to make sure that the employees have a living wage and are working with the union.
That being said, many residents in the vicinity of the proposed sites have expressed resistance, with a survey by the River North Residents Association showing that more than 80% of residents oppose the idea of a casino in the neighborhood.
Hello everyone, thanks for watching the Business Report. I'm Winnie Xu. The state of Illinois issued a COVID-19 disaster proclamation because of a rise in cases and hospitalizations. The virus continues to cause problems globally. Now, China's biggest city, Shanghai, has been shut down for more than a month. This is having an impact on Chicagoans with family and friends in Shanghai. Anger and frustration. Social media videos showing Shanghai residents chanting, "Distribute the food and supplies." The city has been locked down for weeks under China's strict zero-COVID policy. The situation is also impacting some Chicago residents with family back home.
I have not been home since pandemic started, so I was planning to go home this past April.
Besides the low supply and high price of the tickets, the lockdown made things even more difficult.
Like the taxi drivers, there's so few out there. The neighbors or like the apartment complex, they don't want them to be back because they think they might catch something from the airport.
Therefore, Chen was shocked when she learned last minute that her tickets got canceled due to the COVID crisis.
It's very disappointing because I had done all the tests. I've got my green QR code.
As Mother's Day is approaching, there is another problem.
Usually I would mail her presents or order something for her. But now with this situation, like you cannot send anything home. You have the heart, but then there's so little that you can do.
And plans to visit families will have to wait.
I don't think I'm gonna book my flight tickets anytime soon. I don't know if I would like to go through that torture again.
While the situation remains challenging in China, COVID numbers in Illinois are at their highest point in weeks. A new vaccine option for young children could be available soon. Let's go live to Menghan Xiao with that story. Tell us more, Menghan.
Hi, Winnie. Moderna has officially asked the FDA to authorize its COVID-19 vaccine for children under 6 years old. Vaccinating younger kids has always been controversial. Let's take a look at what experts say about it.
The expectation and certainly our observations locally during the study have supported that it's a safe vaccine. And my opinion is that it's an important vaccine for children of all ages to get.
The Moderna vaccine has a 51% efficacy rate for children 6 months to 2 years old, and 37% for children 2 to 6 years old. If authorized, children under 6 would receive 2 doses a month apart. The strength would be a quarter of the adult dose.
It's pretty widely known that children are less likely to get severe infection from the virus, but it does happen.
The CDC said the COVID-19 hospitalization rate among children aged 0 to 4 were 5 times higher during Omicron peak than during Delta's.
What would you say to parents who are worried about giving their baby the vaccine?
Efficacy doesn't look quite as good in little kids as it does in adults. But boy, if I had kids under 5, even, cutting a risk in half is so worth it. If you look at the vaccination rates and the timing of how quickly after approval physician parents got their kids vaccinated, it's universally very pro-vaccine and very much wanting to get that reassurance.
Chicago red light cameras are catching more traffic violations and the city is issuing more tickets. But that's because the rules have changed. Isn't that right, Taylor?
Yeah, that's right, Chantel. Speeding camera tickets are actually catching drivers going just 6 miles over the limit, and some people aren't too happy about this.
They're everywhere. With one flash, a speeding camera ticket is taking a picture of your license for going over the limit.
Well, they're extremely effective at raising revenue for the city of Chicago and bringing in money for the city, specifically since Mayor Lori Lightfoot dropped the threshold for the automatic speed camera tickets down from 10 miles an hour to 6 miles per hour.
Since the cameras are catching drivers going just 6 miles over the limit, this has made it easy for some motorists to receive more than one ticket in a year.
I think that's definitely kind of crazy to have it enforced that strictly. I feel like that's going to have a negative effect on the public, and it's going to really turn them kind of more against it, especially as more people get stuck with these tickets.
Tickets are $35, and late fees could double them to $75. There are more cameras on the south side, which has brought in the most revenue.
They issued 2.8 million automatic speed camera tickets, which is equivalent to one every 11 seconds. So if you're driving around and those cameras look like a strobe light, it's not that far from the truth.
With more than 160 cameras across the city, drivers are left with hefty fines.
So you've heard of the milkman, postal carrier, Amazon guy. What about the tomato man? Well, Chicago has one. Our Elise Devlin tagged along to watch him work.
It's a beautiful day to distribute tomatoes.
The Chicago Tomato Man is back and kickstarted his busy pop-up season this past weekend. After traveling across Chicago to sell his tomatoes last year, Zenny was driving around the city's northwest side on Saturday to give out 4,000 tomato plants.
I also enjoy talking with the customers, talking with people that buy the plants, fellow tomato enthusiasts, because they're joyous. Thank you.
Happy growing! Of those joyous customers include Mike Reardon.
I love his tomatoes because they're heirloom and they're just like works of art. I worked at the Art Institute for the last 10 years, and the tomatoes remind me of Monet paintings.
Zenny is partnering this year with Gardeneers, a nonprofit that helps combat food deserts in Chicago through teaching kids how to grow vegetables.
In stores, we're seeing shortages places, people might not have the money to access the food they need as well. So being able to grow your own food and having that accessible to you as an option, I think is really great. And we're not only doing that with getting people tomato plants, but we're doing that with helping the students in the schools with the money that we're getting from the tomato plants as well.
What I learned from the Chicago Tomato Man was that experts say heirloom tomatoes are actually more flavorful than store-bought tomatoes, like these ones we have in our studio's kitchen here today. I'd actually have to agree. Back to you, Chantel.
We're going to stick with untraditional ways of selling greenery. This next story isn't about your typical gardening center or flower shop. It's more like a beauty salon that sells plants too. Take a look at a new business that completely transformed its purpose during the pandemic. When business at Nika Vaughn's bridal beauty studio began to falter during the pandemic, she decided to pivot to another longtime love, plants. And that's when Plant Salon, a hybrid boutique specializing in houseplants, skincare, and other beauty products, was born.
It was basically all bridal, and then she always had her plants right here at the store, and everybody would come in and be like, oh, is this a plant store? And she's like, no, it's just bridal makeup. And then COVID happened, so she flipped the script, went straight to houseplants, and now we have a plant salon.
So what's the connection between beauty and plants? Vaughn says Plant Salon is all about how these items make you feel.
The way that people feel when they are indulging in something for themselves that they then think of as good for themselves is awesome, that it's an indulgence, but it benefits me.
I just know how much love goes into creating a space like this, and I think it's really obvious when you walk into Plant Salon that they really put a lot of thought into the items that they curate. The plants that they select, they're really well taken care of, and it's just like when you're in a place that is built from love, I think that's what I personally am drawn to.
Welcome to Chicago This Week Sports. I'm Bailey Eichner. We begin with some great news from DePaul University. The men's tennis team is headed to the NCAA tournament. Jessica Lazo joins us live in the studio with that report. Hey, Jess.
Hi, Bailey. Last season, DePaul's team made history, winning their first conference championship.
they've carried over that success this year as well.
The Demons have done it again.
For the second year in a row, the DePaul men's tennis team take home the Big East championship title.
That's an amazing feeling, and I know the guys are just ecstatic.
Players like Vito Tonic had standout performances, but it was an overall team effort that led the Blue Demons to victory.
Obviously, tennis is an independent sport, but in college, you play on a team with 6 other guys. So, we had guys come in for doubles and then guys come in for singles, and everybody stepped up and did their job.
But the Blue Demons aren't done yet, with their conference title earning them an automatic spot in the NCAA tournament.
I know we're not the highest ranked team in the tournament, but I mean, the last couple of matches we've showed that we belong there.
And coming off a first-round loss in the 2021 postseason, the Chicago team is looking for redemption come tournament time.
I'm just super pumped to be in the tournament again. Last year, we just came short against a very good Illinois. This year, being the second time in the tournament, it's gonna be great.
And they're optimistic about their chances.
Confidence is super high right now. These guys feel like they can beat anybody, so we'll be ready.
At least 36 states now have girls wrestling as a sanctioned high school sport. Illinois is one of them. As Mackenzie Richmond explains, this year, history was made. Hi, Mackenzie.
Hi, Bailey. As you mentioned, 2022 marks a milestone in the world of wrestling as the Illinois High School Association hosts its first ever individual girls wrestling final series. This weekend, I got the pleasure of sitting down with 2 student athletes and a coach who are paving the way in this newly sanctioned female division here in Illinois.
When I started wrestling, there were select few female wrestlers. Like, I could count the amount of female wrestlers in Illinois, like, on my fingers. I knew them all. And this year, like, stepping into the, I guess you could say, arena with, like, hundreds of female wrestlers in Illinois, it was crazy to even see.
I mean, it's something it should have happened a long time ago, but I think the biggest thing is that, I guess the atmosphere for the women has changed, that they actually get acknowledged more for, having a championship.
Prior to this year, females participating in the sport had to wrestle with the boys' teams and faced a lot of hesitation from spectators and even their male counterparts.
There was lots of opinions of people saying they don't think females should wrestle. And even this past year, I struggled with getting matches because I would go to events and tournaments and meets, and boys would refuse to wrestle me and their coaches would say, okay.
There has been some parents out there and a couple coaches here and there who are against girls wrestling, and there's still people like that out there. They just don't think it's right technically, but just going through adversity like that, it's a part of the sport.
What was it like competing with boys and then beating them? What was their reaction?
There was a lot of matches that were like that. So, because I was the only girl on our varsity roster this year, I remember I think it was our second duel, honestly. And the kid started out really cocky and he was talking all this game and saying that he was going to beat me easily. And then I pinned him first period.
Her grandfather played football at Northwestern. He was drafted to the NFL in 1960. Her dad was the Northwestern quarterback in the 80s. Her mom was an All-American swimmer there. Her aunts and uncles were also Wildcat athletes. Now, the newest Burton superstar is headed to the WNBA. Talk about a legacy. The Northwestern women's basketball star walked the same campus as her parents. And while Burton is simultaneously following her family's legacy, she is forging her own path as a Wildcat.
I just thought it was really exciting to see a player get drafted that high, especially for our women's sports, which don't get as much media attention, but she won Defensive Player of the Year, and she's had such a great career over these 4 years. And it was really cool to see that kind of pay off and then her get the media attention that she's deserved this whole time.
Burton found her home inside Welsh Ryan Arena, where she is one of the greatest players and teammates for the women's basketball program.
She's elevated every player on the team with her own play. She's, elevated her own play, of course, as the seasons have gone on. And I think at this stage, right after she's graduated, Northwestern women's basketball is synonymous with Veronica Burton.
Colin Sayal joins me live in the studio, a Medill sports journalist. Colin, you had the opportunity to cover Veronica Burton this past season. What makes this 3-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year so special?
You know what, Bailey? It's really her instincts on the defensive side of the ball. I've watched her for a couple of months, and what she has is really special. She's the centerpiece of a zone defense, which they call the blizzard, and she's really the head of the snake of that defense. And I've never seen a guard be the head of the snake of a defense, but she's the one communicating, and at the same time, she's out there pestering the point guards and even the wings of opposing players.
It's time now for Chicago This Week's entertainment news. I'm Lindsay Tanney. Elon Musk is one of the country's richest men. Now that he's purchased Twitter, how will his celebrity status change? Amber Cooper talked to Twitter users in the city about the app's new owner. Hi, Amber.
That's right, Lindsay. Twitter will soon be in the hands of a new owner, and many wonder how this will bring change.
Elon Musk has secured a $44 billion deal to take over Twitter. There are a lot of mixed reactions to what this could mean.
I think it's pretty cool. Maybe it'll bring something new to the platform that wasn't there before.
I'm largely neutral. I guess I lean towards disliking the purchase.
He can do whatever he wants. He's got the money to do it.
It's a little bit crazy. I think that somebody has that much money should probably put it to better use.
Tweet while you can before it costs you.
I guess Twitter was owned before, so it's just someone else owning Twitter.
Some users are worried about the spread of misinformation and if banned users like President Donald Trump will receive their accounts back.
I feel like it potentially opens up the door to maybe stopping some of the restrictions that seem to be on the platform against certain points of view.
Also, buying Twitter, in its entirety, is definitely not leaning towards free speech, I guess. I mean, he bought it because he didn't like the way people spoke of him, I think.
Elon Musk tells users, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means." The deal is expected to close sometime this year.
Summer is around the corner. Are you ready to feel your best? Alyssa Grabinski joins us live with some fast and easy nutrition tips from experts. Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Lindsay. Summer is right around the corner. For some people, that means it's time to throw away the chocolate and opt for fruit instead. I talked to a local holistic health expert and a local dietitian who has over 548,000 TikTok followers to hear what they had to say about nutrition. Let's take a look.
A lot of times people will have a meal and then a little bit later they're feeling hungry. Having that balanced meal will help prevent you from having that constant spike of hunger and then you're feeling super full. It's just constant up and down with your blood sugar levels. And when that happens, your cravings are higher and you're more likely to eat more. There's 31 grams of protein in this creamy and delicious pesto sauce.
Another thing is you should really try to focus on what to add to your meal instead of being so focused on what to remove. With the low carb diet being super popular, we're so focused on removing the carbs. Instead, why don't you focus on, am I getting enough vegetables on my meal? Am I getting enough protein in my meal?
The general healthy eating principles is focusing on the perimeter of the grocery store when you're grocery shopping. So that's produce, right? We always want to prioritize produce, organic if possible, but even if it's not organic, it's still better than opting for processed foods.
Groceries are expensive these days, but one thing that people don't realize is there's other options. You can do frozen fruits and vegetables. A lot of people think oh, that's not healthy. Actually, sometimes those frozen fruits and vegetables have more nutrients than the ones that are fresh.
We're celebrating Cinco De Mayo this week. Do you know what the holiday is all about? I hit the streets to ask Chicagoans if they knew. Take a look.
I'm outside Old Crow Bar in Wrigleyville, where we're asking people, what is Cinco de Mayo? How do they celebrate it? And we're wondering if Chicagoans really know what the holiday is about. What does Cinco de Mayo celebrate?
The independence of Mexico, right?
I don't think so. I think the independence of Mexico is in September.
Day of the Dead.
Isn't it?
I think so.
Like, it's not like Mexican Independence Day or anything like that, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Wasn't it a war, a French war?
It's an American celebrated holiday because in Mexico we don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
No, we really don't.
I think it's just a reason to drink and party.
The Mexican victory over the French in 1862? Over something.
On May 5th, 1862, a Mexican militia unexpectedly defeated the French in what battle?
I remember this.
What battle? Tell me what battle?
It's not the Battle of 1812? No.
It's something like Kaluga or something. I don't know. Kaluga? Is that it? We'll be spending the next several days showing some love to all the moms out there. Many mothers have become social media famous by sharing their experiences and tips with followers. Our Katerina Alexopoulos talked to some of those famous moms and has this report.
TikTok is known for dance, humor, and creativity, but it also has become a community for moms.
Ever since I, had my baby, I kind of just went through a really deep postpartum depression, and I used TikTok as an outlet. It definitely helped me get the help from other moms. It helped me not feel alone. It really just helped me express my feelings in a really safe place. TikTok is much quicker, much faster, like editing pace, and it's like easier for like an on-the-go mom like me.
I feel like with TikTok, there's a lot more authenticity with people and just people being able to be who they are. And that way, when they think that they're going through it alone, they aren't actually going through it alone, and they can feel that connection.
TikTok moms rally this year to make sure all moms are spoiled for Mother's Day. I made sure to get my mom a card with some special words. Happy Mother's Day to all moms.
We just celebrated Independent Bookstore Day this past weekend. Book lovers in the city spent the big day taking part in the Chicagoland book crawl, and our Hannah Shapiro was there.
This is my 9th.
This is my 6th.
Well, this is our 10th. It's not quite a beer crawl, it's a book crawl, which is 1,000 times better.
Well, Yuki, you want to get that one? Yeah. You want to learn more about the Titanic? All right.
There's 40 bookstores in the Chicagoland area, and if you go to 10 today and take a picture, at each store's setup, then for a whole year at all the indie bookstores, you get 10% off. If you go to 15, you get 15% off.
We took the last 2 years off, sadly, but we're so excited for this event to be back. Quite a few people, I think, are really trying to get to at least 10 or 15 bookstores today, which you have to love.
Oh my gosh, I've gone to City Lit, I've gone to Madison Street Books, I've hit 3 or 4 on Milwaukee, so I'm making my way north from the West Loop.
Started in Hyde Park. I just kind of mapped it out based on neighborhoods and getting there by train.
It's great to kind of see all these different spaces, and the staff picks are always our favorite, just getting to see what weird and great things people have found.
And the bookstore people have been so nice.
Everyone is so nice and friendly.
Yes.
It's been really gratifying to discover how wonderful the independent bookstore world is in Chicago and how many places there are, how supportive a lot of them are of the queer community as well, has been really great to see.
Indie bookstores are part of the revolution. Like, we're all trying to fight for better literacy and better lives for so many people. Like, we need these spaces.
I'm proud of our community. We're a pretty close-knit bunch, and we try to be there for one another. We're all doing different work. We're kind of all doing it in our own way. We all serve different neighborhoods and different communities, but I love being a bookstore owner in Chicago. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.